Good afternoon, everybody. We it's a little bit different for us. As you guys know, on signing day, we can't release any of the names of the guys we're recruiting, but certainly it's a big day for us, as it was in December. December, the early signing period, I think really has changed signing day for college football and the transfer portal and how that's affecting signing day and high school recruits and those kinds of things. So it's an interesting day, but really happy with the guys that are making commitments to us and excited to get them in here and work with them. Obviously, we'll continue like everybody else, probably beyond the signing day to completely secure the class. Ours being a little different, not accessing the transfer portal like most schools are able to, but with the high school prospects. So we're excited about that. It's always a big day for us. We got off-season workouts going on right now. Our guys are working extremely hard to get prepared for spring practice and next season. We've had our senior class. Been exciting to see some of those guys be able to play in some all-star games. Zach Harding in the NFL Players Association game this past weekend, and then Nolan Cockrell, who will play tomorrow in the East-West Shrine game. So excited for those guys and the opportunities they've got. Our senior class has got their pro day coming up on March 22nd, and we'll start spring ball just a few days after that on March 25th. And then that'll culminate with our spring game on April 22nd. So a lot coming up, a lot of work to be done, and we're making some new hires. We got several new coaches. We had some guys that have been able to leave for some other opportunities and advance in the profession, which we're excited for them to do that. But excited about the guys we've got that are coming in, replacing them, and the job that they're going to do to build our program and develop our players. So we'll take questions, and as you guys know, I can't specifically talk about any of the prospects that we signed, but glad to talk about the class in general.
Joe Iacono.
Good afternoon, Coach. Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com. As you mentioned, no, you can't mention any specific players, but overall, what's your feeling about this 2022 recruiting class, as well as potentially some of the players that are going to be matriculating to West Point in the summer from the prep school?
Well, they first, an old coach used to say, they all come highly recommended. So all the guys we got, I think, are pretty good players. Certainly come from recommendations from the high school coaches and guidance counselors and people in their schools that recommend them as people as well as players. We feel like every one of them is going to be able to contribute to our program and the success of the future Army football. So we're looking forward to getting them in here. And you never truly know, I don't think, until probably their second year, after they've either been through the prep school program or been through their freshman year here with us. We really start to get an idea of what kind of player they're going to be. So that's when we'll really find out how good of a class it is. But certainly we're excited about each one of those guys and the guys at our prep school that we place there, and getting them to matriculate here to the academy and into our program. And we're excited about the future and this freshman or this new class here that's going to be coming in the fall of 2022.
Stuff. And then my follow-up and final question, Coach, for now is, you mentioned the transfer portal, and obviously at West Point, it's kind of a one-way portal. It seems like, unfortunately, obviously has had an impact on the program, but you guys seem to have done a really good job managing it for the most part. It's like anything else, it's an obstacle, and it's kind of a hurdle the NCAA throws in your way that maybe you don't have a lot of control over. But kind of how are you guys as the staff at West Point handling the transfer portal and trying to not allow it to have a huge impact on the program one way or the other?
It's part of college athletics now, and there's really not much we can do to control it. So we want to create an environment here, or nurture a culture here that people want to be a part of. And I think our guys enjoy being a part of this program. They I hope feel like they're being developed and growing into the best players they can be, but also into the best men that they can be, that they're maximizing their potential as students, that the leadership opportunities that come with West Point and the uniqueness of that are appealing to them. So hopefully they're going to stay because of those things. And we work hard to love our players and more importantly, get them to love each other. And I think where they feel that sense of belonging and that sense of trust, that they want to remain a part of it. So that's our job to do that. And that can be done in any organization. It's not unique to ours, but we certainly try to do that here. And the transfer portal is just part of college athletics, and I imagine it's probably going to remain. And so it'll affect us, but hopefully, like I said, those things that we're doing internally will help keep our guys here and not go and seek the transfer portal. I think a lot of times the transfer portal also what may be the guys that get the headlines are the guys that are starters. They start at one school and they leave and are going to the transfer portal, and you see them signing scholarships with other programs. But there are literally hundreds and thousands of college athletes in there that maybe are seeking other opportunities for different reasons, to be closer to home. They may be struggling in school. They may find themselves buried in the depth chart and just want to have a place to go where they can contribute and get on the field or on the court. So I think there's a lot of different reasons that people go into the transfer portal, but we're excited that we've got the guys in our program currently that are working hard and that they've remained loyal and want to be here with us.
Thank you, Coach.
Ken Kreitzer.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Good to see you. Just thought I'd pick up on your comment about players in the bowl games, the Collegiate Bowl, with Zach Harding having a good day in the Collegiate Bowl, and then also the number of NFL players that played this year coming out of West Point. It really speaks to the talent level that you have in the program now.
Well, I think those guys are talented, but I also feel like that they've worked really hard to develop their skills. None of the guys that we've got that are playing in the NFL right now, and neither of the two guys that played in the All-Star games, we got others on the team this year that I think will have opportunities to at least maybe get into a camp and try to make a team. None of those guys were turning down Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson and USC and Notre Dame to take a scholarship at West Point. They're guys that have developed. And so their hard work, their talent is certainly, but their hard work to maximize that talent is what has gotten them these opportunities. And I'm just really proud of each one of those guys individually and proud of our staff for the things that they've done to help them and to guide them and develop them as well.
Very good. And you were talking about the off-season training that you're doing on Twitter. We see pictures of some of the players. Jacoby Buchanan got singled out for his work ethic. What are you focusing on in the off-season weight training and exercise program?
One is recovery. After a long season, there are guys that just it takes its toll on their body. So get those guys recovered, but also to build strength, build endurance, build speed, power, all of those things that are going to help them improve as players and to prepare them for spring practice and summer training and workouts and then ultimately the 2022 season. So Connor Hughes, our strength staff, and our strength staff, they do a terrific job. Tim Kelly, Jared Contreras, who lead our training room staff, tremendous just in getting those guys healthy, getting them back into the weight room, getting back out on the practice field. The combined effort that they put into the health and welfare of our players and the development of them physically, that's really where our focus is to equip our guys as well as they can be to play this game, which is a physical, fast, and sometimes violent football or violent sport.
Thank you, Coach.
Graham Knight.
Hey, Coach. Graham Knight with Behind the Lines. I want to pick up on Ken's question about offseason. You know, one of the things you hear during the regular season is for academy football players, you know, for regular football players at other college programs, the hardest part of their day will be the football practices. Not so for academy players, it might be the easier part of the day. Is that true in the off season as well? Or is the work, the demands of the work and the fitness training, et cetera, more of a heavy lift?
I try to make this the toughest part of their day. I don't want this to be an outlet or to be easy. Nothing's easy about this game. And I don't want anything in this program to be easy. It should be the most challenging part of their day. And what they have to do up here, learning their position, the scheme, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, this is a complex game. And so they've got a lot to learn and a lot to study. And then physically, it's grueling. It's a grueling sport, and we push them. You watch our guys work out. There's nothing easy about what they do in the weight room. There's nothing easy about what they do out there in the running workouts. So it's I think probably from an outsider looking in, you'd think, oh, that's the reward. They can't wait to get up there to the football field. Well, I want them to look forward to it. I want them to be excited about coming up here. They should be. It's a sport they love and a team that they love, but they also know it's going to be hard work. And but hopefully they're approaching the rest of their day like that too. That they see the rewards that will come from a great effort in the classroom and a great effort as they pursue their goals. From a military standpoint and with their companies, they should attack their whole day like that. And that's, I think, what this place does is there are very high standards that are set for our students and for our players in the program, but for our students from an academic standpoint and a military standpoint. But we also have very high expectations for them that they're going to go out and lead with honor and be leaders of character. Leading soldiers in our Army, and they represent the entire nation when they do that, and the entire nation counts on them to do a good job. So I think it only stands to reason that, you know, we expect a lot out of them. We push them no matter what they do. But I think the guys would tell you they love to come up here because they love football and they love this team, and for that I'm glad. But it's not easy, that's for sure.
Well, quick follow-up. Speaking of not easy, in January, you mentioned about going out and doing battle recruiting. Joe asked you about the transfer portal. I'm curious, how much are you bumping up to name, image, and likeness? Not something that academy players are afforded at this point. Is that impacting recruiting at all?
Not with our prospects. I haven't run across that. I've had some questions from prospects and parents about it, but frankly, you know, we're not slugging it out with those Power 5 teams for prospects. It's just, as much as we would like to recruit those same guys, and as much as some people think we ought to be, it's really difficult to do. And so at that level, I know that's a big part of it. And for us, what's great is you know, it's just pure recruiting. We're selling the great academy that we have, the education, the leadership opportunities. And nobody does leadership better than West Point. It's the best leadership school in the world, and that's undisputed. So we've got a great product to sell as well as a winning football program. And so, you know, sharing that with prospects and their parents and high school coaches, there still is a purity to the way we recruit, and that's refreshing. But I'm sure that the longer this NIL thing goes, the more it's going to become a conversation.
Ken McMillan.
Hi, Jeff. You mentioned Pro Day coming up on the 22nd of March. About how many Army players do you think will be participating? Do you put the names up, or do the NFL scouts suggest names to you?
It's completely their choice. Our players can choose to take part in take part in the pro timing day or not. Several of our guys will elect to participate, and there's several that are not going to do it and don't have an interest. They're ready for their career beyond college in the military. So I don't know exactly how many there are going to be, but I know there's some guys that are training really hard for it and getting prepared. And I would imagine there'll probably be anywhere between 6 and 10 guys.
Are you able to share any names?
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously the guys that are playing in these all-star games, Harding and Cockrell. I would imagine Eric Smith is going to take part in it. I think he's got a great chance. Cunningham, Barnard. I heard. Let's see. Mike Roberts had mentioned to me he's going to do it. Wilson Cato. I know those guys have all spoken to me about it. Eric, do you know of anybody else that's played you? I think those are the guys, and there may be more. There may be more guys that want to come do it, and I think it's great. It's a great experience. It's a great opportunity for them to be able to get in front of pro scouts, and just those guys see players from all across the country. So I think just one of the experiences that goes along with playing football at this level and playing here at West Point.
You mentioned the transfer portal earlier, and starters get a lot of attention. Well, Ty Robinson and Isaiah Alston were two of them. How surprised or blindsided were you by their decision to publicly announce, and how did you get them back in the fold?
Well, it didn't have anything to do with me. I think, like a lot of players at this level, a lot of college players seeking out what might be, opportunities other places. But, as I said, other factors play into that. And I'm not going to share, the personal reasons that they would do that. But as I said, it's whether it's seeking a place to get closer to home or challenges academically or whatever it may be. I mean, there's other things that come into play, but ultimately they both wanted to be here because they're teammates, because they love their teammates and they feel a sense of belonging here. There's a culture amongst this group of guys that I think is really special. And so that ultimately is what kept them here.
I want to ask about recruiting. You've been doing this a long time. Has it changed a lot over the past 30 years or even the past 10 years? Does it get easier with the evolution of social media and file sharing?
I think it has changed a lot. Obviously, the digital media has changed it. For us to be able to evaluate players now without having to collect film, that changed it entirely. I mean, I remember not long ago when we would have to carry blank videotapes to a high school coach or mail those out to a high school coach, crossing our fingers, hoping we would get 10% of them back with film of a prospect. And really, unless you could see a guy live, which it's nearly impossible to see them all live, you had to hope to get some film of those guys. So now you can watch everybody. Every kid in America's got a huddle film, and you can look those up and evaluate. But what's changed is with social media and Twitter and Instagram and all those things, is no longer are you going to outwork somebody to find a guy. You go find a guy, and as soon as he gets an offer, there's a post, blessed to receive an offer from, and everybody's on it. And so the other people are tracking that, and they've got services now that track those guys and report. You subscribe and they report to you every kid in America that's gotten an offer and where it was from. So it hasn't made it easier. It's made it more time consuming. it has amped up recruiting more than ever. So there's just different challenges, and we evolve along with the changing times.
And just one more point on that. Are there some basic concepts to recruiting that have always stayed the same?
Absolutely. Relationships. I think, there's guys that are going to sign today that got an offer last night. They might got an offer this morning. They've never talked to a coach from the school before. And the particular school that's calling them lost a guy this morning. He signed with somebody else. And they say, okay, who's a guy we know about? Call him, offer him. And the kid says, yeah, I'll take the scholarship. And he's going to sign today. It's the first phone call they've ever received from the school. That happens. It'll happen today. It'll continue to happen. But to me, to build a roster and to build a team of guys that we really feel good about and know about and feel like fit our culture and fit our schemes, it's building relationships with them and their families and their high school coaches. And I think that's always been important. And I think that'll continue to be important.
You've had some coaching changes, at least 4 have gone on to other jobs. Can you tell us about what you've done with replacements?
Yes. So we hired Scott Sloan, who was the defensive coordinator at Georgia Southern, to coach our safeties and take Shield Wood's place. And he and Coach Woody had worked together at Appalachian State. So Shield Wood took the defensive coordinator job at Troy. Just a great opportunity for him. So we hired Scott. Scott comes out of the same defensive scheme, speaks the language. And I've interviewed Scott before, and I've coached against him a number of times on opposing sidelines, including a year ago when he was at Georgia Southern and came here. And glad to have him on our team. He's an outstanding coach and a really good recruiter. We hired Sean Cronin to coach the defensive line, who joins us from Colorado State. A veteran coach, has worked with coaches that I've worked with before and trust, and just great recommendations. And when we interviewed him and he talked football and talked scheme and talked fundamentals, just clearly set himself apart. And we're really impressed with him on offense. We hired Aaron Smith, who was the receivers coach at UConn last year. So we played against him and just really was so impressed with him, his professionalism, his knowledge. He interestingly was here at West Point at one time in his life. His dad was the garrison commander. So he graduated from O'Neill High School. I didn't know that until we interviewed him. So it's a little bit of a homecoming for him coming back here to West Point. There's still a couple of hires that I'm going to make. And I've just waited until recruiting was over. It's hard to focus on all those things at the same time. And I really felt like what was needed was our attention to recruiting. So now that that's over, we'll finish out the last couple of hires and have a full staff again.
Thanks, Jeff.
John Kikas.
And wait, do you feel like your success has helped you recruit better?
Yeah, I think success helps for sure. Better. I guess how to phrase that. Recruiting is I think there's just certain pools of guys that different groups of schools are going to be involved with, and winning doesn't put us and John, we've won a lot of games here. I mean, in the last 2 years, the last 4 years, the last 6 years, I mean, we're in the top 20 for most wins in college football. Our players have done a great job, but that's not going to put us in the top 20 in recruiting. We're not going to have the top 20 recruiting rankings. We're not going to go and recruit with the top 20 Power 5 teams. So better doesn't necessarily mean that. What it helps is the battles that we fight in our pool, which is the other academies. It's FCS schools, some of the Group of 5 schools. Sometimes it's air. I mean, just us or going to college somewhere, literally. Winning does have an appeal, and I think that it is allowed us to be able to win some more battles in recruiting because we've won.
Do you feel like the Army name is more familiar with kids now?
I think Army, everybody knows Army, and what they associate with the word Army is what we see on the news channels, guys running around and shooting at bad guys. What Army football has become is more than that, I think, with the success that there is a recognition that we are a winning football program, that we are a team that can compete with anybody in college football, and the success and winning and going to bowl games and those kinds of things have opened up, I think, the minds of a lot of people about this opportunity. So I hope that's the case.
When you have somebody like Andre Carter who has emerged from really being nobody, does that help?
Well, Andre's always been a somebody. He's always been a somebody to us. But for him to come on nationally like he did and gain the recognition that he did, the All-American nomination, or All-American recognition, I should say, that being there in the leader amongst the leaders for sacks over the course of the season and leading the nation up until the last week of the season. That's certainly brought recognition. But I think having guys like Zach Harding and Nolan Cockrell playing in all-star games, but also having 5 guys on current NFL rosters, that's brought recognition to Army. I mean, Ollie Villanueva played before I got here, and he's the most decorated player of the 5 we've got in the league. He's also been in the longest as an All-Pro, but the other 4 guys, they played in the last 3 seasons. So that's recent history, and guys that are growing in our program, developing our program, and going to play in the NFL and being announced on national TV as starters. And I mean, that's bringing recognition, and I think some credibility to the success of this program, and the fact that a guy can come here and truly do anything, including play in the NFL.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll do a last few for Coach. We'll go Graham Knight and then Ken Kreitzer.
Hey, Coach, earlier you talked about your players going off to be leaders. As we're having this conversation, Russia has, 100,000 troops around Ukraine. Just as of today, President Biden just sent some troops to Europe. How much does that weigh on the mind of your players, or how much of a sense do you get? How much do those real-world events weigh on the minds of students at West Point?
Our guys come here to serve. That's what they're built to do. And each one of us, whether we realize it or not, are engineered to serve other people. Now, not all of us act on it, but every one of us was created to serve others. And our guys answer the call. That's why they're here. So they study it, they prepare for it, they train for it, and I know that they look forward to the opportunity to serve our country, doing whatever that is. Not all of them are going to have the same job. In fact, there are thousands of different jobs that they could have in the United States Army, and not all of them are going to be one of the troops that is deployed. But we have people here at West Point that are preparing to do that, and we got players on our team that are excited to do that. And I promise you that America can rest well knowing that there's young men and women at West Point preparing to do that. They're going to do a great job of leading soldiers, and whatever it is they're called to do, they're going to place the mission first, and they're going to put others first, and they're going to lead well and serve well and defend our freedoms and defend freedom anywhere in the world where it's threatened.
We'll go Ken Kreitzer, and then we'll close out with Ken McMillan.
Thanks, Coach. Just want to ask you a little bit more about how the decision is made about incoming students going to the prep school versus being a direct admit to the freshman class. The prep school helps them with academics and with taste of military training. How does that process work about deciding whether they go to the prep school or they go directly to the academy?
Our admissions committee makes all those decisions, and it's all based on their credentials. And I promise you, everybody that goes to the prep school or comes in here direct is highly intelligent and a tremendous leader and prepared and ready to take on the rigors of West Point. It's just there is just a need for some to get a little bit more training to be prepared for the academics and the military part and whatever it may be, the physical part. And so the admissions committee makes all those decisions. None of it's based on my evaluation.
Thanks, Coach.
Last one for Coach, Ken McMillan.
Jeff, just wanted to ask you, what's the health status of this team? I know Booby Law was one player who was significant who got hurt at the end of the year. Can you give us an update on how the players are coming along?
That's what's great about the off season is we can recover and there's some postseason surgeries that need to happen, and we've already started those. There's been a couple of guys that have already had procedures done, and others as we evaluate and try to rehabilitate their injuries. Obviously, surgery is a last resort. We don't want to do that if we don't have to, but we're discovering that a couple other guys might need procedures, and hopefully we're going to stay healthy through spring ball. We won't have to do that post spring ball. Those are always the ones that make me the most nervous is those that are happening in April and May, because the recovery time that they have is so short to be able to get ready and be prepared for the season. So, I think we're coming along good. We got a great training room. Guys are working hard. They're eager, certainly, to get healthy, and hopefully we'll get them all ready for spring ball, and those that can't be ready for the season.
Jeff, you're a dad and a coach. Today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. What does that mean to you?
It's just it's a great day to recognize that women and girls are a huge part of sports and an equal part of athletics. And for so long, sports were looked at as something that men did and things that were physical and active, and that girls didn't have a part in that. But I promise you, I got 3 girls at home and a wife who was a college athlete, and they're tough and strong and love sports. And I love supporting them, and I love supporting our teams here, no matter if it's a women's sport or a men's sport or what it is. So I think it's great for them to have a day to be empowered, but it shouldn't just be today. It should be every day. And they're on equal footing with everybody that plays sports, regardless of what sport it is, what gender, what country. It's awesome to have people participate in sports. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than getting out there and being active and competing and using your body that God gave us to be able to celebrate the gifts that we've got. So it's a great day to celebrate, and I've really enjoyed all of the women here at West Point, our coaches and our athletes that have shared their stories, and I've been trying to retweet those as fast as I can. I'm not very good on that Twitter, but I want to share that because it is important, and it's important for us to embrace that, especially on our side, on the men's side. embrace our female athletes and coaches and our sisters in this great game of sport.
You're getting better at Twitter, Jeff. Don't worry. Thanks for helping.
Hey, just checking Strassmeyer. You got any questions out there? I know Strassmeyer's listening. For all you guys that are wondering, Scott Strassmeyer, he's the SID at Navy. So he pokes his nose in here he likes to tweet stuff out about me speaking on Twitter. So Strass, you want to raise your hand?
All right. Well,
I guess not. Beat Navy.